Okay, so we're recording. It's July 2nd, 2018. Josh, you have the first item.
All right, give me 1 second. All right, so so I think we were going to discuss this last meeting, but we didn't quite have full quorum here. But we want to talk a little about sort of the architecture of the project, and really how to try and make the extractors more usable on their own, and essentially be a little more adaptable for others to use. And the idea being that even though we're on Postgres now, which is great, customers may not be using Postgres, and if you ever want to move off Postgres, we'll obviously need to do our thing as well. And the longer we wait to do that, the harder and more effort it will be for us to actually support multiple backends. And so we had an issue here down below, idea to make things on their own. And basically, we're hoping to have an architecture discussion around, which I think actually most people already commented on, which is great, how to go about doing that, right? And then how to design going forward the extractors in such a way that you can actually plug the backends and do things. So I think everyone on this call is already aware of it, so I think we should just need to proceed. Jacob, I'm not sure what the best way forward is to sort of align on a final decision.
Yeah.
Should we just keep on talking on the issue?
I'd like to come to a conclusion by, I think a reasonable timeline is like the end of this week. I know Mikhail's not here. He said he could join for a second on like Wednesday or something. I think we all already are on a very similar page. I don't think we're like so far off right now. As far as what I think we should do, I'll just say it here and then we'll write it in the issue, and you guys can tell me, you folks can tell me if we are like so far off, which is similar to what you said, Josh, which is just that everything that we release works on its own. It's like exactly what you said. Everything that we release works on its own, but as a whole, we make something that is also configurable to work as a whole. So it works on its own, works as a whole. So something like maybe a CLI, like Vue.js has a CLI, where you tell it to run, you tell it to create the project, you tell it what you need, and then bam, it creates the whole thing, creates a configuration for you and everything. I mean, the main thing is that it should work like right out of the box. And I think that we should be separating the loaders from the extractors. And at some point, I think we're going to need a user interface on top of this to possibly allow people to interact with it via some sort of web browser situation. Giannis, you don't have to raise your hand. You could just interrupt.
So yeah, I think that creating a CLI or a visual interface is a great idea. But I think that creating a CLI is a vertical problem to having the extractors separate projects. So one thing is having the extractors as modules, as something that people can use on their own. And a different thing is creating a CLI that can fetch all those extractors wherever they are and create a project as a whole for Meltano. So I'm not sure if we should tie those two things together. I'm not sure if you agree with me.
Yeah, I think the CLI is kind of like the GUI. It's kind of like a separate thing. Yeah. You're right. It's like it's totally separate thing. So I think the big thing is to separate the extractors from the loaders and to write all the extractors in a very similar way so that when someone dives into the code, or let's say that, we hand this framework off to somebody else, then once we hand it off to somebody else, then they can say like, oh, I know exactly how to write an extractor because I can see the way that they did it in these 5 other extractors. It should be pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so if we agree, we have to go back also to the discussion that Joshua started. If we want, whether we want the extractors as separate projects or not, or how do we add them as separate modules, or what we need to do there so that people can just pick the extractor they want.
I mean, if it's in the same
If we,
repo, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. So yeah, I was going to say the same. I think that we are going to say. So even if they are in the same repo, if they are standalone, somebody can fetch the whole repo and just use the code they want, as long as there are no interconnections with each other.
I think
they need,
I think as long as there's an entry point of some sort that allows them, if we have a mono repo and we have some sort of entry point, like I keep bringing back the view code because that's like something I'm very familiar with. They have a lot of different little things sitting in the view repo, but there's like an entry point, and it's kind of all available through like a standard API. If we can have, one place where they look, and then they can say, get me this extractor, combine this loader. I mean, it could just basically be an API that we release that says, not like a post get HTTP request API, but more like a framework, where you have Meltano dot extractors dot this extractor or whatever. Does anybody have a difference of opinion about the monorepo thing?
So my 2 cents is exactly that. So I think we should start. Yeah. So I think we should start with doing the technical side, which is to support multiple backends and to do the architectural piece and get that ironed out, and stop essentially accruing technical debt like we are right now. And then at some point later, we can think about splitting out the projects into their own projects. I do still think it'll be nicer. GitLab does not have good support for monorepos. And I can go into more details around why that is, but the first step is at the technical side, and then we can go from there.
Sorry, I don't know why my internet's bad. I probably should go upstairs or something. Tomorrow, I'm getting this like fancy thing that sends the internet downstairs. It's like an actual person that brings the internet downstairs by hand, and so tomorrow it should be better. Yeah, it's too fast. I think the walls are too thick. I think that's the problem. So yeah, okay. I think the one thing I think we should do is we should not do something and then switch later. That's the only thing I worry about, because just from my past experiences, that usually adds more time. Whatever it is, we should just suck it up and do it. So if that's creating separate repos for these things.
Well, I think they're orthogonal things, right? So we can do the technical side first, and we can.
What is the technical side?
The split of the extractor and the loader, the definition of some common format, so that you can actually use them independently.
But how are we going to do that while everybody is writing different extractors and loaders?
Well, so I think what we would do is I would align on the architecture that we want, right? And then the next person who writes a new one should probably work on, basically take a longer period of time to build a new one, and build out the common framework for the extractor, like file the new pattern, right? And then we can go back and update the old one. And so you use that as sort of the proving ground to make sure that it all works, make sure the performance is correct, to make sure that our assumptions were correct in the architecture, right? So and then go back and essentially bring the other ones up to speed, if that makes sense. That's one way I would attack it, but I certainly opened up other ones, because I think splitting it into different projects is something that is not. It's not a technical issue. It's just a project organizational issue. The only thing that would impact us would be the GitLab CI YAML files. And so it's something we can just kind of do pretty easily at any given time. And so I think the more important thing is to do the technical side first. So for example, if you ever wanted to switch off of Postgres, and to something, like perhaps BigQuery or something like that, then we could do so. Right now, we're pretty firmly attached to the hip of Postgres, for example.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's, yeah.
It's sort of by design, obviously. We kind of decided to delay support for Postgres, but we're already sort of bumping into problems with Postgres, right? Like Snowplow data can't, and Cloud SQL kind of sucks, and so we can try to go to Aurora, which is sort of the analogous Cloud SQL on Amazon.
Well, either way, we don't know what people are going to want to use when they grab.
Correct. So it's also an issue of productization of this, because chances are most people aren't going to want to use Postgres. They're probably going to want to use some, columnar database store, which is better suited for analytics.
Right, which means that we have to create like a database layer where people are connecting through some sort of dialect, kind of like an atheist dialect, or whatever you call it. It's not atheist. What is it called? It's like non-denominational dialect, where it's like it's a common API. I'm using religious terms here. I should be using like
ORM, object relational mapper, is the thing.
ORM. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think that this is not something that we should worry about. We should create an exporter, a loader for Postgres, a loader for Cloud SQL, a loader for whatever, and just create the API for how we send data from the exporter to the transformations to the loader. Just that.
Right, because we can have just the loader is the part that interacts with the database. The extractor is not going to interact with the database.
Exactly, and we can make it as specific we want for each database or data store that we want to create. We will create once the exporter, the loader for Postgres, and we are set to go. We will create once the loader for Redshift, and we're set to go. And the only thing that we have to work around is how we send the data from the exporter transformations to the loader. And that's it, I think, my opinion.
Okay. I agree with that. I think the other things I would say is we have to figure out how to do incrementals. We just figure out how to handle like schema changes. But
that's all part of the loader.
Well, yeah, but like anyways, we can get into more details, I think, in that issue. But I think I agree with the architecture. I think it's correct. I think that we just have to figure out how to handle some of these other things as well within that model. It might be as simple as running the extractor, realizing a schema has changed, and then the CI job then kicking off like a full refresh, as opposed to just like the incremental. Something like that to handle some of these scenarios. Like, for example, someone creates a new Salesforce object or renames a Salesforce object. How do we handle that? Stuff like that.
I believe that this is part. That's why I'm adding the transformation layer there. Even though we should not, we are not doing any transformation. The transformation for the extractor is the data mapping. Is deciding what you do with broken values, with values that you were expecting that are integers and are strings, or what are you doing with a missing attribute or with a new attribute. And I believe that that's it. So that's why I'm saying extraction, transformation, data mapping, loading, just that. And the core and the hardcore loading will be done afterwards by the data team with dbt or whatever, but this is afterwards.
Yep. I think it's a general, great model. And so, I agree.
Can you clarify one thing for me? Because I'm trying to imagine how this would work. And if we have extractors and loaders, what would be where would be the runtime for them? Is it going to be bound to a core, or each of them going to come within their own Docker container and then run there and then send data somewhere? I'm just trying to understand the runtime pipeline, maybe.
I would say it's up for us to define. I think the thought process there would just be performance. Like, for example, you could use standard in and just pipe things around between the different applications, and that would make like an application or process side work well. We could also go the individual Docker container side, but then we could think about how we want to try and connect the containers, whether it's over like a port or whether we want to try and connect it using like, I guess, some sort of shared socket. That's probably poor form, I would imagine, trying to connect between Docker containers. So I think that's totally up to us and how we want to try and handle this. And I think all suggestions would be great to have. So
I think the piping makes the most sense because it's the most flexible.
Yeah, but for the piping, then the environment should be the same. I mean, then you need to have one machine with all of the installed dependencies and everything, so then you can pipe within the same system, right?
We can start simply, and so yeah, this is a single process thing where everything works in the same job, and you can work with pipes. It's not a single process, so every stage is a process, and we can work our way afterwards up and use a message queue or something way more complicated with different servers or whatever. But the basic setup and the MVP, MVC is to create, I think, something that can at least work inside the job, and pipes at least work. And we can then replace that with a proper message queue or Airflow or whatever. So whatever can run a set of steps for us inside there.
Mm-hmm.
So how about this? I want to make sure I write this down because there's still a whole lot of talking, not a lot of documenting. Giannis, do you want to give me a TLDR of the whole thing? Right now we have split loaders and extractors. Loaders will have different dialects. Extractors will yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, I can do that for you. I think that what we're discussing now is very close to the graph that I posted in the issue we were discussing. It's a matter of how we are going to implement those steps. But yeah, we can.
Did you make this graph yourself, or is this?
No, it's mine. I created it.
It's very cool. It's really nice. It's very pretty. So, I mean, maybe we should just use this graph.
Let's discuss this again with Mikhail. I would love to hear him out because he has a different approach on that. So he may say that everything we discuss he doesn't like it and have something that.
I'll talk to him and I'll see if he can join for Wednesday. If not, we're going to have to push this to next week. Yeah, I don't have a problem pushing it to next week, but it'd be nice if we could kind of close the deal.
I'm not sure it's that urgent either. I mean,
well, it's only urgent because we're writing things in the wrong, in a different direction, right?
Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying it's probably more important to get this right than it is to, rush it while so on.
Right.
We will continue writing things the way we are doing, and then we will have to rewrite a couple of extractors. It's not like it will be the end of the world. The problem at the moment is that we have the extractor, we have everything there. We have the extraction part, the transformation part, the loading part is hard-coded and repeated in each extractor. So yeah, either way we will have to do it for the current 7 extractors. Maybe we will have to do it for 8 extractors or 9 extractors if we postpone it by a couple of weeks. But maybe we have to think it through a little bit more.
I just want to try and avoid as many rewrites as we're like a few months in, we're ready for a rewrite. It's like that. But yeah, no, I agree. I do want to do this right, and absolutely. So yeah, let's. I'll send Mikhail a message. If he can't do it this week, we'll wait till next week, and we'll talk to him about it. I think we're on the right track. I like your graph. I think it's good, and let's build consensus. We can move on. Emily, you look like you have something to say.
I don't. I was just talking to Taylor, who's back today.
Oh, Taylor's back.
Yeah, in a limited capacity.
Obviously. So I just was going to put this out there that so let's I'm going to leave this as discuss until we can get Mikhail on this call. That's number 12. and then we'll discuss it again once we can get Mikhail on the call again, and we'll move on from there. 1 week isn't going to kill us.
And just, like Alex and, everyone, please contribute ideas and thoughts. So if you have ideas on how to make Docker work and things like that, I think definitely contribute those. And so,
So at the moment I don't have ideas. So that's why I was asking, because I haven't done things like this before. Maybe what I would suggest, or what I would do, is try an approach and maybe see it as an experiment, and then everybody else can see, is this ergonomic? Does it work for us? Does it make it readable, discoverable? Maybe then several like small implementations we see, and then we pick the one we like, because now we're discussing in theory, and in our mind maybe we'll find the best solution. But then once we start writing, that's So
I think this first extractor we sort of picked for this new model will sort of be the test bed for all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Good. We have these domain names, and I didn't know if we wanted to put up, even if it's not anything of huge value, even just a business card sort of thing that says Meltano, and then, or we just redirect Meltano to the GitLab repo. This is the item number 11 on here.
Yeah, so I had opened an issue as well on this. I thought we could maybe use GitLab Pages to try and create something small and simple, and then basically use GitLab Pages custom domain feature to hook up with these sites, right? And so if it's Meltano.com, you go to you'd end up because the GitLab Pages site, for example. I think we should have figure out, do we just put the README there, or what do we do? I just plan to spend more time on that and figure out what we want to do. The easy thing is to just have the README there as like a GitLab Pages static site generator job. But also we had to have Hazel or someone create some some cool artwork and have a little more more succinct introduction to the project, and then say more information, go here.
Josh, here's a thought. The content team has been talking about the content hack day that's this week or next week. Maybe that's a good opportunity. I know everyone's super busy, but maybe it's a good opportunity to pause and focus a little bit on some of the verbiage around Meltano to get those pages up. And it's a good chance to think about things like SEO and what keywords we want to target, especially as we think through the structure between extractors and loaders. These are all very interrelated things around Meltano positioning. So the content hack day that's coming up could be a good chance to take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's good. I wasn't aware of the content hack day. So
here, let me post.
I kind of think that this is something that...
It's on July 13th.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a really good idea. I kind of think that this is something that needs to be focused on by one individual because I talked to Sarah about getting a logo, and I know that the UX team is just super, super overloaded right now. And I don't know that we're going, I think we might be able to get a logo out of them, but anything else I think is going to be really tricky because they're just too overloaded. So I think that maybe, as a front-end developer, this is something that I can definitely do pretty quickly. If we can maybe all agree on what we're looking for in terms of a page and design. This is something I could whip up in 2 hours. So maybe we should just discuss this in the issue, and then I can put something together really quick. And then hopefully I can grab a logo from Hazel. I'll be a squeaky wheel about that, and then we'll have something up, and it can link to our repos for now. And yeah.
I agree. I think so. Yeah. So let's talk about what content we want in there. I think it can be really simple for now, just to get something going.
Yeah.
And we can iterate from there. So yeah, let's talk about the issues.
Where's the issue? Oh, you have the issue. There it is, 247.
Yeah, and I this is like a really half-baked issue, just
That's
like
good.
a placeholder.
Yeah. Let's talk on there, and then I'll leave this as a discuss for Wednesday, and let's see where we get to with that for Wednesday. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. What is Content Hack Day, Emily? I've heard this a million times. I just don't actually know what it is.
So from the page, it's where the content team encourages everyone to work on content instead of the rest of their responsibilities. The idea being that people can contribute a ton of blog posts, and there are prizes. So for example, if you work on content on Content Hack Day, you can expense $15 in snacks on the day of. There's a team prize. So if more than half of the team contributes, you can win a prize of an evangelism dinner. There are just lots of prizes in exchange for creating GitLab content.
We can definitely, you know what? I think this is definitely something that deserves at least a blog post. It's going to be hard to beat the front end team because in the past we've usually won and just destroyed everybody. But I think we can beat them. I think that would be really sweet if we did. Yeah, I think we should maybe put together some blog posts. We could pre-plan this. We could pre-bake this before Content Hack Day and then just deliver the goods on Content Hack Day.
I think you have 2 weeks from when it's finished or the Friday after or something to actually deliver all of the blog posts. But I do think it would be good to think about like potential ideas, because that'll give us the chance to like maybe do a little bit of research into what keywords people are searching for and then write content that's catered towards those keywords so that, it's a real winner for the content team.
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely at least a blog post telling people what Meltano is, because that's the question I get the most. Is it a Starbucks drink? No, it's not a Starbucks drink. That's the thing.
It's a sandwich.
It's a sandwich that comes with a Starbucks drink. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's content hack on that issue that you created, Josh, and then we'll go from there. The one reason that I want to make sure that I create, the website and as much of the content as I can is because the team is so small, and I really don't want to take away anybody's time from actually writing this stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I was not volunteer to do the website, but if you have some time to do the website, I can certainly spend time on content, and not that no one else can do content, but
no, everybody should do content. But
yeah,
I know the one thing I'm good at.
The prizes require more than 50% team participation.
Okay, so Emily, you are going to have to write a blog post after all.
Okay. Does data and analytics count like Meltano overlap?
Yeah, I think data and Meltano should be one team.
Okay.
Because we're too small to, take on.
Does it count if I rewrite a query I want? It's content.
If you write a query?
I want to rewrite a query.
Emily could just post that SQL statement, that giant SQL statement.
Oh.
It's content. Let me do that for the content.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So this is good. This is really good. This is a good start. And, the sooner we can get this thing going, the better. I'll talk to Sarah about that logo and see where we're at with that. I'm sure that, Josh, you have an FYI that you mentioned the last time, did you, or no?
Yeah, I mentioned this last time. I'm trying to figure out how we do this. So I'll make an issue and assign it to myself. I'm not sure how we use it. I don't know. So I asked around to try and see who knows how we set up all those notifications, but no one seems to answer me. So people probably
Sure, we
don't
can figure
know,
this
or
out.
it was set up probably
You know
too
where the
long.
Slack bots are?
Yeah,
It should
But
be
they're-
just a Slack bot, right?
it's an incoming webhook, but the question is from where. And things
Oh,
like that,
you can't see that in the list of Slack bots?
Uh,
Anyway, we could talk about this later. Yeah, I would think that in the list of, because I made a Slack bot for the front end team that, like, I think it was every time a pipeline failed. And if you go to like the Slack administration area, you should see a list of bots that exist, and then you should see their webhooks that are related. So you can see the mentions of GitLab one.
yeah, you can't. You certainly can. I just don't know how much you can learn from that. But anyways,
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, I can take a look at it afterwards.
yeah, I've got it open now. But that's it. So I'll leave it open just so I can reminder to me to get the issue open. Yeah. Next up is anything with anything? No. Okay. So now next for me, just because I'm going fast because we're over time. I got DBT stuff working. Thanks, Emily, for the tip on that we changed table names. That was part of the problem. And we fixed the cluster metrics, yay! And we also got installation metrics now for GitLab, which is also very exciting. So that's what I did last week. And this week we'll work on also trying out a new debug image of the runner to see if we can try and make progress on the runner, taking 2 hours on failed jobs to exit. And then also some of this content and blog post and social stuff to get some of the more awareness driven as well as captured hopefully as well, so we can act on it if someone comments about Meltano somewhere. So Mikhail's out. Yanis?
Yeah, so the pink extractor is done and everything works perfectly fine now. We also have the CI stats extractor. It also works. I've done a little bit more work today, but I think that it's over engineering because I was worried about those queries. So I try to split the queries in bunches. So I try to get the min ID, max ID of the table. But I found out, I just run some tests that raises the query time from 50 minutes to 1 hour. So I propose to just leave it as is if everybody agrees. I will write it down, don't worry, in the issues for everyone to see. Yeah, that's it. I will send some small updates to you, Jacob, today, and I will work on the text harness I will start working with everyone for the test harness. So, Alex.
So last week I've figured out the way to, and like the idea I had for the PG Bedrock, like my idea materialized into the pull request. So I send the pull request to the author for him to review like my approach. Haven't heard any feedback or comments from him yet. Meanwhile, I'm waiting. I got 2 new issues from Jacob today, and I'm going to be working on them now. One on the adding the snowflake, snowplow. I don't know this word, but this thing to the its data about the events to our data warehouse. And the second, maybe afterwards, extracting the GCP Google Cloud Platform building information also into our data warehouse. So I guess Jacob is the last one.
I just posted a picture of a snowplow. Yeah, now you know what a snowplow is. Pause the video for 2 seconds.
I will send a merge request review your way today that I would love if you can check it. It's very simple. It's just in order to fix a failing job. It's not important, but it will be nice to have green pipelines everywhere because for some reason, one of the pings DB is not responding between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. So this is a fix for that. Just that.
Great. Awesome. So that's what I'm working on. and I'm super excited about everything. We got so many cool things going on. If we just gotta arrange all the things, it's gonna take a couple of weeks, and then bam. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.